like to look at the line that joins the two centers of pressures of each foot, as this gives me some indication of their swing direction. So if we get that line pointed out to the right, it's more likely that there's going to be a swing direction out to the right. If we get that line pointed out to the left, it gives me a lot more information about where that's going. So there are various different products in the Swing Catalyst lineup. And the simplest product we have to measure the golfer's connection to the ground is our balance plate technology, which is right here. Our balance plate is very light, easily movable, can be moved around quite easily. It is a thickness of about a driving range mat, so you could put it down right next to a driving range mat, slide the mat up next to it, people can hit off of it. This is a pressure plate. This measures only the golfer's pressure between the surface and the ground and their feet. And so pressure is defined as the perpendicular forces to the surface. And so if we're looking at the pressure plate, this will only measure how the golfer pushes perpendicular to that surface. We're aware in the golf swing that we have some side-to-side forces and shearing forces and torque forces. The balance plate is not able to measure those. However, some of our other products are. But we still do get a ton of really good information from this balance plate. It's connected to your computer by a USB connector. It runs at 150 Hertz, which means we get 150 pictures every second from the balance plate technology. There's also 2048 sensors on the surface of this plate, which means you get really good resolution of where your feet are and where they are pushing into the ground. And so as we put this on the ground and we stand on it with our golfers, it gives us a lot of really good information. It's going to give us our stance width, which is super important. All of our research has shown is how the golfer uses the ground to produce forces is really determined by how far apart their feet are. And so dialing in each individual golfer's stance width and being able to measure it with the balance plate is super important. We can also measure the pressures between the feet and the ground. This can really tell us if our golfers are getting unbalanced or they're way on their heels or way on their toes. Haven't seen too many really good players that are super unbalanced at setup. It's also going to tell us how much pressure is in each foot throughout the swing. If we talk about our leg dominance tests, it's really important to dial in the pressure or the amount of pressure shift a golfer has based on their leg dominance. We're going to find right dominant golfers get way more into their right side, so we want to see their pressures in the mid to high 80s, maybe sometimes even in the 90s, whereas a left dominant golfer wants to stay in the 70s or 60s in terms of the amount of pressure shift during the backswing. We can dial those things in easily with the Swing Catalyst balance plate. I also really like to look at the line that joins the two centers of pressures of each foot, as this gives me some indication of their swing direction. So if we get that line pointed out to the right, it's more likely that there's going to be a swing direction out to the right. If we get that line pointed out to the left, it gives me a lot more information about where that's going. It also tracks the trace or how the center of pressure moves throughout the swing, so we can look at that and try to make some guesses about why that golfer might be producing the forces they are. This can also combine all the pressures and give me an idea of a calculated vertical force. So now we have three basic ground reaction forces that we can use in the golf swing: horizontal, torque, vertical. This gives me an idea about how much vertical force I'm putting into the ground and the timing of those forces, which is one of the three main forces we measure. So it gives us a lot of good information that can help dial in our golf swings and help us really help our players.